May 5th, 2025 council meeting, and welcome. This is our governance and priorities meeting. I'm Deputy Mayor Pat Hansard, and as such, deputy mayors chair this particular meeting every month. I now call the meeting to order. Members of council, there is an agenda before you. Administration, is there anything to add to tonight's agenda?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Nothing to add?
There's nothing.
Nothing.
All right. Councillor Palechko, would you come forward with motion on the agenda, please?
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. That the May 5th, 2025 Governance and Priorities Committee meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Any comment or question of members of council? All in favor? That carries. We now are at the point of our meeting, which is public input. Stony Plain Council offers an opportunity to the public to address council for 5 minutes each on any item that is not currently on our agenda. If it's on tonight's agenda, you can't talk to us about that. I'm wondering if anyone had signed up to speak from administration in this piece of our meeting.
Through the Deputy Mayor, no one has registered this evening.
All right, thank you. I'll open this then to the floor. Is there anyone in council chambers who's not scheduled to speak at another time but wants to speak at this point to bring something before council? I'll ask again, anyone in council chambers? Seeing no one, we will proceed. We'll move forward with our presentations and delegations. Tonight we have community members and regional members who would like to talk to us, one, about the BMX Association, and I'll invite BMX participants to come forward. Would you just please sign the paper? You did? Oh, excellent. And then state your name so we can make note of that. We can call you by your name when we're speaking to you.
My name is Martin Summer. I am the president of the Stony Plain BMX Club this year.
Thank you, Martin. You may go ahead.
Okay, so I'll try not to let my presentation nerves get the best of me, but kind of overall, Stony Plain BMX, I think everybody here kind of knows what that entails, but it is riding your bike up and down hills and trying not to crash. We accept ages from the youngest person that's been on our track on a push bike was 2 years old. So typically our push bikes are 3 to 5 years old. And then we start the full bike racing, which will be the full track at 5 years old. And there is no age limit. I think the current oldest member that is on our track this year, he is just about in his 60s. He might get mad at me if I overaged him, but and he's been with the club for over 20 years as well. He is one of our board members. He's does a lot of our IT, so he's been around for a while. So kind of overall, the season last year was one of our slower seasons out of the last, and it's kind of in part to, if you guys didn't hear, St. Albert BMX, they opened a brand new track, which is Supercross track, which then now brings Alberta into a competitive level that can potentially see a world stage. So that's always great being that close to Stony and our community, because it allows us to invite other members who come across over to come and ride at our track. So last year we had people from Quebec riding our track while they were waiting for a Canada Cup Series because they were already at St. Albert racing, so they spent the whole week here. So it brings in riders from all across the country, which is an awesome kind of thing to have. So with that, our membership dropped from about 95 members in the 2023 season down to 60 members in the 2024 season. This year, tonight is our first race, so tonight's when our membership really starts kind of taking off because we've had a try at night. We've got another try at night coming out May 10th. For people to come and try BMX without having to purchase their license and stuff like that first. And right now we only have 40 members registered, but that's already 2/3 of what we had last year. And I think I got about another 6 emails today asking about how they can register and everything along that. So we're hoping to be growing our numbers from our last year decline where we dropped down to 60. Might as well quickly stop here before I keep going. Is there any other questions that you guys got?
We'll ask questions at the end, otherwise you may not get to the end of your presentation.
Perfect. I'm a person, I like to ask questions right in the middle of stuff, so I want to always give people the opportunity to do the same thing. So with, I believe you were mentioning yourself to me before session had started, you were asking what event that we had that was a large event. We had an Aurora series, which we do every year, and it's kind of a mini competition that we have between the 4 northern tracks. So every year, all 4 tracks, they will host a Friday night event where all the members who can do the travel will come out on the Friday night and participate. So last year we were just, I think we were the second one in the 4 Cup Series. This year we will actually be doing the finals, so that's where all the awards and prizes and everything else get handed out. So it should be a larger turnout than there, but in the last year series we had 130 riders registered, so typically that puts our track at about 400 plus people there, so that is a rather large event, and people come. There's a lot of people that end up actually staying in town so that they don't need to try to, especially the Red Deer track, drive back to Red Deer that night. So yeah, we had those series last year, and this year, again, we're hosting the final of that series. So we're predicting about 150 to 175 riders, and then obviously all their parents and friends and family that come along with that. We didn't get a provincial race this year. We applied for one, but St. Albert, having nationals there, they ended up beating us out for it. And Edmonton ended up getting a provincial because as it was originally listed, it was going to be their last season riding at that location. But then the city came through this year and extended their lease for 2 years. So hopefully we can get a provincial series, which for next year. And those ones usually bring in around 400 to 550 riders. There are no major changes planned for the track this year, but we are picking up our fundraising because as it stands right now, potentially within the next 2 years, we're going to have to redo our corners. And those asphalt corners have gotten rather expensive. So we're averaging just to do the 3 corners. We're looking to fundraise about $100,000. So that's what it's looking like. Most of the quotes we've gotten are going to be in that price range. And that's even with us supplying most of the volunteer labor. And, well, I was mentioning it before, but our Aurora finals will be August 29th this year. So anybody that would like to come down and support us, it would be great to have you there. And I think that's about it for my ramblings that I can muster out and think that you guys might like to know about BMX.
Mr. Summer, you're not rambling. To some of it, it's music. To some of us, it's music in our ears. Are there any questions from members of council for our presenter? Yes, Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Summer, for being here this evening. Excuse me, you had mentioned a Supercross track in St. Albert. Now, BMX is not a sport I'm super familiar with. So could you give us just a brief summary of what Stony Plain might be rated as in terms of a track and how that would compare to a Supercross track like the one you referred to in St. Albert?
Good, it did turn back on. So I don't think we have a special classification. We're just classified as a BMX track. We, for the space that we currently have where we are situated there, we do not have a pro set. So that is kind of a higher competition. So it actually ends up in 2 of the straights, because you typically always have 4 straights on most tracks. 2 of the straights, they end up being doubled up, so that way the pro riders will have to go through the pro track or pro circuit, and those ones are forced jumps. So you can't just coast and keep your wheels on. They're usually about 15-foot gaps that they've got to be able to clear, because if they don't clear, the earth underneath is not maintained for riding. It's done that purposely, so that way they actually have to try to make that clearing. And those ones typically for the provincials and the Canada Cup Series will then allow you to earn money. So depending on how you place, that's how you get your pro purse and that kind of stuff. So we're limited with the amount of space that we have at our track. So if there's anybody that knows about more land, so we can potentially upgrade, but that's something far, far in the future. And and then what puts Supercross one step ahead of most of the tracks that are here in Alberta is they have an 8-meter start hill. So that is something that you need to, that's an Olympic requirement. So that is why it ends up putting it as a world-class track or facility. And because now we could host a Worlds here in Alberta where we couldn't do that before. I think the closest one was in Kelowna, and they don't participate primarily in the Canada BMX. They're more of the USA BMX circuit is where most of their tracks go. So this allows, because Saskatchewan doesn't have any, and with us being Alberta and Quebec are the 2 largest provinces that participate in BMX in Canada. So a lot of the other ones do, but they don't have the push that we do here in Alberta or they do in Quebec. So St. Albert now would be the only one that could actually host a Worlds in the Western Canada stage for the Canada BMX circuit.
Okay, so a pretty fantastic track to have in the
Yep.
region, and certainly creates a lot of opportunity. You alluded to more land, and I think with projects like that, unless people know the need and what the numbers are, it's hard for people to come forward in that. And so when you talk about even a pro track, and you mention more land, what does that look like? How much land would be required to build a larger track?
I think right now the minimum we would need is it was either 25 or 35 meters in our width, so that way we could get those 2 extra, because each lane is the ideal length that they would have to be is 10 feet wide. So by having to add 2 extra 10 feet rows in our second and third straights, that's where you would need that extra. So if we kind of changed it at the way we have right now, there would be no seating for any spectators or anything, because we would lose that entire bleacher area that we have there. So that's where I know the only possibility would be to go into the that nice green space if we went wider, but never know, right? It was just more of a kind of a, hey, let's put the bug in people's ears, and who knows, maybe in the next few years we can eventually all come to a game plan and get us on a larger stage so we can attract more of those races like Canada Cups and Nationals. We could get those all here if we manage to expand our track and get a pro set put in.
Perfect. I appreciate the insight there on excuse me, what that would look like and what that would take. Do you happen to know, or even administration, how much land does the BMX track currently sit on? Like, how much land is currently there. And so sometimes it's nice to put a bit of a number to that. I see them looking. So I may ask a second question, if I may, Deputy Mayor, and let administration look into that one. You mentioned the Try It program, I believe May 10th. Do you have a time
Yes,
for that?
it'll be held from 12 to 3, and if anybody else is interested, we are putting that all over our socials, so primarily what we use is Facebook and Instagram. So those are the two that we primarily use to get a lot of that communication, plus anybody that's wanting to sign up for a newsletter, they would just have to go on our webpage and sign up, and then they can get our weekly newsletters as well. That'll update all that kind of information as well.
Right on. And then bikes available for, someone maybe doesn't have a bike but wants to try the sport?
Yep, we have right now through donations and everything else, we have 18 loaner bikes that we try to maintain in our moto shed that we can have brought out and for people to try them. So when we just did it last week, Thursday, we kind of did a trial run for the track because tonight is our first official race. We had a bunch of people come out, and I think we had 12 of those bikes on the track at once, just for new people trying it out. And we, that night alone, had 8 new memberships.
Oh, wow. So not just for the Try It nights, but if a family couldn't afford a bike, there's the possibility they could borrow a loaner bike for
Yeah,
the actual race nights and that sort of thing.
Yeah, in most cases, we don't even charge a rental. It's as long as you return it at the end of the night. That's all there is.
Awesome.
We can't, and it is a first come, first serve, so we can't always guarantee that the bike that you want to ride will be there when you get there, but we try to make it work as well. And a lot of our club members, like myself, I have 2 bikes in the 2 different classes that primarily are race there. So there's a lot of the times where if I'm not going to race both classes, I will loan out one of my bikes so somebody else can try it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's great to hear that, the barriers to entry in any new sport can be challenging, and it sounds like you've taken steps to ensure that it's accessible for everyone in our community, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, anyone else on council? Question, Councillor Pletchko.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through to Martin. Just a general question, I guess. You made mention that you've kind of lost the provincial races. Where does our track stand within the region today on a ranking?
For size, we're about middle. Last year we had dipped down to the lower size for the tracks because off the top of my head, I think there's 11 tracks in Alberta right now. And so we were at the higher end before St. Albert opened theirs. And so we did, and I mean, we can't blame them. We did lose a bunch of our more seasoned and more elite riders because they want to ride that track for the reason that they're hosting a nationals this year and next year. So, and the more time you get on a track, the better you are at getting all your timing right, knowing when to jump and everything like that. So we did lose a lot of our seniors over there, which does hurt a little bit, but it allows a lot more opportunities for the beginners because now they're not being blown out of the water by all the senior people that are riding. So we did have a huge influx. Like at the beginning of last year when we lost all of our seniors, we started the season off with only 30 people signed up, and with bringing in new riders, we got an extra 30 new riders last year, and pretty much all of them that I've seen so far on registration have stayed here. And we actually won back 4 families from St. Albert came back to Stony Plain just because of the more of the family feel, the smaller community aspect, and that kind of stuff. It actually brought them all back to Stony after they saw the nice new shiny grass is greener on the other side, but then they realized it's not so green.
So that's kind of what I was trying to get at was, what is the club doing here to improve the status of the club? I get that, the potential for them going to a brand new facility is always attractive, but quite often that attractiveness disappears somewhere along the way because of politics or a number of things that gets in the way. And I'm wondering, you made mention that you need to grow in size to attract people back. What else can you do in our community to attract that? And obviously, you're doing some of that currently. What could the town participate in that would help that aspect, other than, building a bigger facility for you, which then you're really trying to take away from the World Track?
This year, we were more of a push to kind of, I know the Americans, they all make the fun slogans, and BMX picked it up as "Make BMX Great Again." So there was a whole line of hats that were sold all of last year to kind of make fun of the American electoral run that was going on down there. But we kind of took that a little bit to heart, and we worked with Edmonton and St. Albert, and we are now pushing that we are a family of tracks. So instead of every track trying to host 2 races every week and everything else like that, we are switched this year from we race every Monday and then we're racing every second Thursday, obviously always weather dependent. And with that, we push that the other Thursdays go to St. Albert and race there. On Wednesdays, we don't have any events that are happening Wednesdays, because right now we don't have enough elite riders to have a junior Devo team, which is a kind of a little bit more of a competitive. They're the ones that would then race in the province to do those pro circuits. So since we don't have that going on Wednesdays, we push all of our members, and us as the board, we are pretty much going to Edmonton BMX Club, because that's when they do their primary race, to go there. So that's one of the big things that we've been pushing to try to keep and bring everybody together and kind of make BMX as more of a family thing, not just all individual. And that's kind of where it had drifted to, is a lot of the tracks just ended up being, this is my track, I want to try to get as many racers here and only here and not promote them racing anywhere else. And with that already alone, we have been starting to get people coming in. Like today, we've got 3 members from Edmonton that are coming out and racing on our track. We have, I mentioned the 4 families that have left one of the St. Albert track and came back to us. We also have members that live in Edmonton. Instead of going to the Edmonton track, the feel and the community that we have out here in Stoney, they've actually signed up for the Stoney track instead of the closer track in Edmonton or St. Albert. They're more willing to do the drive. We've got another member that's coming from Fort Saskatchewan that comes out here every Monday and races, because he just likes that feeling of it. And they start to slowly bring in more and more people. So we're not trying to steal members from other tracks, but we will gladly accept them if they come. I hope that in a roundabout way kind of answered your question.
It answered the question very, very specifically. I think you're doing a great job at working to gain some of your membership back. I think you're doing a great job by promoting yourself as a region to come and support each other, and I think that'll help with getting people back to our community. And like you say, Stony Plain has a unique feel, and once they've been out here a few times, it should bring back enough people that your club will grow from the 60 that you had last year back up to your 90 or 100 people. So I'm glad to hear you're working towards that. And tonight, I don't know that did you have a specific ask that you were coming here for council, or you just wanted to update us?
No, just it was more of an update and make sure that, everybody's aware of what we do and what we are. And, it's just another one of those things that we can do to drum up membership and get more awareness out there. I did forget to mention earlier that with partnership of the town, that we are one of 2 tracks in Alberta that are actually an open to the public track. All the other tracks are private tracks where you need to be a member of that track or pay to be on that track if you want to just ride it for fun.
Nice, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Summer. Anyone else on council? Question? The chair would like to ask a question. Sorry. Oh, you do have a question. Mr. Mayor, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you for the presentation, Martin. Definitely appreciate you coming and taking the time. I know tonight, like you mentioned, is the first race night, so you're doing double duty tonight. So just one question in terms of, you mentioned that, our track is kind of, not as large as some of the newer ones that are coming on. So in terms of a league, is there something like a development league where we don't have to be like the high class caliber? We can develop our younger riders to get to the next level?
That's kind of right now what we are doing a lot more of, because we are, in the grand scheme of things, we are one of the smaller tracks. I mean, you are limited on your overall length, but because we don't have that pro set, that's where we lose some of the more elite riders to tracks that have that pro set, so they can regularly practice those. And again, they still come out here and ride it on off time because we are open track, so they can come anytime and come and ride it. But that is one of the things that does hurt us with maintaining more of those elite riders here at our membership, because they can't get the practice in riding those more competitive circuits. So that's where we do lose them, especially in this area. St. Albert is the only one that has the pro, so Edmonton doesn't either. So Edmonton took a loss in membership last year, and we took a loss in membership. And, well, St. Albert got a nice spike in membership last year, because they were actually, out of the 3 clubs, until they did their rebuild, they were typically one of the smaller ones.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear that, and especially what you mentioned earlier, that 3 clubs are working together to make sure that, you can accommodate different people in different race, genres, instead of just having, top of the line. We all want to be the best, but sometimes we can't. So let's work with what we have, and that visioning you mentioned earlier, like, how do we partner with the town for an expansion later? Mm-hmm. I know for members of council are aware that the land that is currently allowed for the BMX Association to use is land that's been dedicated to them, and the BMX Association has done all the work to maintain and build and everything else, so we don't have to do anything in terms of the town of Stony Plain. So that's a beautiful partnership that has worked well for our community. Mm-hmm. And personally, I've had the opportunity to use the track. My kids have as well, and also my nieces and nephews and many of my friends. So definitely thank you for that service for our residents. My next question to you is, you mentioned something about having the Canadian Nationals, and you needed deeper hills and moguls and stuff.
That's the pro circuit to be able to run the Canada Cup, because you got to have the pro circuit for the people that actually race for the pro purse. So as it stands right now, we can't get a Canada Cup, so that means we're not going to be, I guess, a national stage here in Stony. So that would be that's our limiting factor. The provincials, we have been now, this will be the 3rd season without a provincial, so next year we're almost, I wouldn't say 100% guaranteed, but we're pretty near guaranteed being able to host a provincials, because the last one we had here was in 2022. So hopefully in 2026 we get another provincial, and like I mentioned earlier, that's anywhere from about 400 to 550 riders that come to those.
That's good. I appreciate that, and I definitely remember the 2022 provincials where we had tents set up all over the area there, and tons of people parking illegally, which you turn a blind eye to. We won't go there, but definitely appreciate that. That's a good problem to have. I just want to let you know that if you ever get those 10-foot humps and bumps there, I am not riding with you. Okay, I think you're trying to kill me. It's bad enough that I have to race against you every year. If it gets any more dangerous, I'm out.
Okay, we won't race that circuit, because I don't think I'm pro yet either. Maybe in 10 years, maybe.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone else on council? Mr. Anderson. Oh, sorry, Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm just looking to administration. It looks like we may have an answer to the current size.
Deputy Mayor, through to Councillor Anderson. So certainly the current BMX track straddles 2 parcels that the town owns. The combined acreage of those 2 parcels is 6.3. The track roughly encompasses about 1/3 of that total distance. In speaking with my counterpart, there are some future projected plans for one of the portions of that particular 6.3. So maybe an expansion could happen, but it might mean the whole track has to be reoriented, so I'm not sure what level of undertaking that has, but certainly an ability to have a conversation about whether or not that site is suitable for future plans.
Which does work out well with us having to redo our corners anyway. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Before the corners get done.
Yeah, a conversation to be continued, it sounds like.
Anyone else? All right. The chair's going to ask you a question or two. What year did the BMX park actually start?
That's actually a subject of debate that we've been having over the last month. We are not 100% sure when. We know we were accepted into the Societies Act in 1998, so that's the furthest back that we 100% got a lockdown date that we know. We've had people say anywhere from, they were thinking 89 to 95.
Okay.
Where we've got it. So it's actually one of the things that I was going to ask is, does the town know when they donated the use of the land to Stony Plain BMX Association?
We should
That
be
might
able to
help
get
us.
that answer for you. I don't know if we'll get it tonight,
Yeah.
but somebody will be in touch with you about that date. I believe we had a staff member at the time who was highly involved, and she advocated. But one of the things I do know is that council of the day has always been supportive of the BMX track. Number one reason, well, many reasons, but one of the reasons would be because it wasn't just exclusive for you. It was also open for the public. And that's very attractive to a council who's speaking to all the taxpayers' needs. The other thing I was going to, I don't know if you're aware or not, hopefully, but there was a time when the BMX park created we donated the land at the BMX group's request, and it was created. And then they came to us and said, if you let us extend our track, we would be able to attract bigger tournaments and types of riders, which the town did give them more land. I think they moved some picnic tables and a grill and some other things in order to make that happen. And sure enough, the crowds got bigger. The illegal parking increased, but it was a crowd. And then, so every year, I think the town has been impressed, people of the town have been impressed that you come and do so much extra work out there to keep it nice. And that has not gone unnoticed. The other thing is, you sat before us this evening and you said, we've got to raise about $100,000. I've been here for 20 years this year. Not very many groups come to us and say, nonprofit groups say, I have to raise $100,000 to make this happen in somewhat short order, and don't have a direct ask of council. I'm not telling you have to come up with one tonight, but maybe you could think about that. And I do know that the town supports that track, and our administration has been accommodating to allow a lot of things to go on there because you guys take care of the place and make it available to the public, and that's a really unique thing. So we want to thank you this evening for coming forward and talking to us about the BMX track and your riders. And yes, things will happen around you, but things come back. When Superstore opened in Spruce Grove, for instance, there were grocers in the area who turned themselves inside out over that competition. But within 2 years, their business grew bigger because people from further away would come there to Superstore and not find everything they wanted or the atmosphere and come over to their businesses. Same thing with Walmart, and same thing with the track opening in St. Albert. Finding a way for you to improve your status and keep things beautiful and available, I think, is a long stretch toward continuing to have support of the councils of the day. And this counselor, this deputy mayor, is a fan. So thank you very much this evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor, just to provide Martin some narrowing your timeframes just to search when the BMX track was built. I recall myself being a young lad, and we had many adventures. Adventures at the Whispering Waters Creek there, and we had quite a few campfires, and we were in those woods, and I believe that was probably about 1990 is probably when we lost the ability to do some of the shenanigans that we used to do.
Well, build a park.
But there was no video evidence of anything.
Build a park and take away the evidence. That's what he's saying. Thank you, Mr. Summer, and thank your group.
Thank you very much.
All right. Our next presentation this evening will be coming to us from the Hope Beverly House, operated by Parkland Pregnancy Support Center. Welcome. Would you come down front? And we have 2 chairs down here, so please, if you haven't signed in, please sign your names and state your names and your organization again, if you don't mind, when you start. Thank you for being here this evening. I happen to know both of these ladies. Jan Gillett, who is, before she became a counselor in the city of Spruce Grove, actually had another life, and part of that life was the Parkland Pregnancy Center, and Karen Carlton. So thank you guys for coming this evening, and I'll turn the floor to you. Speak right into that microphone like a movie star or a singer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Administration. My name is Jan Gillett. I am the Board Chair of Parkland Pregnancy Support Center. And tonight I have with me my Vice Chair, Karen Carlton, and we also have Coral Siddell and Clint Carlton from our board with us as well. We just want to thank you for this opportunity to present to you tonight.
We're a local nonprofit registered charity supporting families in need with information, support, and practical resources in the Tri-Region. 2024, we celebrated 10 years of service to our community. While we've always been in the same building, our work has continued to evolve, and the needs of local families have changed. We're here today to be able to share the next chapter with you today.
During COVID in 2020, we launched a family violence awareness and prevention program and have since connected with hundreds of families experiencing domestic violence. Prevention happens in 3 stages: stopping violence before it starts, stopping it from reoccurring, and addressing long-term impacts. Our program, You Can Talk to Us, was part of primary prevention. We focused on teaching our young moms what healthy relationships look like and how to recognize the early signs of family violence. And we provided tools for them for communication and conflict resolution. This type of early education, along with promoting gender equality and positive role models, is essential to breaking the cycle before it even begins.
In 2022, Lila, a young mom, found herself in a precarious situation. After another night of her partner's drinking, fear, and violence, she took her 2-year-old daughter and fled her home. She didn't have anyone she could turn to, ashamed to go to family, too afraid to ask the safety of her friends, so she did what far too many women end up doing. She lived in her car. A couple days later, she came to Parkland Pregnancy Support Center, tired, scared, and with no means and out of options. We sat with her, held space for her pain and started making calls. Nearby shelters, local help groups, organizations in Edmonton, anyone who might be able to help, but everything is full. Everywhere we turned, we were told it would be 24 hours before anyone could even return our call. Oh, sorry, we can't help you with that, or the best we can do is offer a gift card. There was no place for her to go, no emergency shelter here, no safe local option, no immediate or direct support for a woman and a child facing a family violence crisis. So we did what we could. We put her up in a hotel room. Over the next few days, we connected with her, with the agencies who could begin to help her take the next steps forward.
So we looked at the shelters, and Alberta's family violence shelters are not conveniently located for the residents of the Tri-Region area. Facilities like Jesse's House in Morinville and the Yellowhead Emergency Shelter in Hinton often operate at full capacity. They prioritize individuals from their immediate communities, and in 2024, Jesse's House received over 2,500 calls for support, reflecting the high demand for their services. Due to the limited space, the shelter was unable to accommodate many of those requests, highlighting the pressing need for more accessible resources in our region.
In 2024, the Parkland RCMP detachment reported 1,575 domestic violence-related cases in our Tri-Region area alone. That breaks down to 131 cases every month, 30 every week, and more than 4 every single day. Every day in our community, more than 4 people, mostly women and children, are experiencing violence in their homes. That's 4 women waking up afraid, 4 children learning fear instead of safety, 4 families being torn apart by abuse with nowhere close by to turn for immediate help. These aren't just numbers, they're real people. They're our neighbors, our coworkers, our classmates, our family members. And the reality is this: in the Tri-Region, there is no local emergency shelter dedicated to helping women and children flee domestic violence. The nearest options are Edmonton, but they are often full, and wait times are even a call back can be up to 24 hours. Now, Layla's story ended well, but I'll never forget how heartbreaking and frustrating it was, not just for her, but for me and our volunteers too, knowing she had the courage to leave, but still couldn't find safety close to home. And I asked myself the question, why isn't there help here?
So today, I'm honored to share with you the realized dream and vision of our new safe space that offers women and children not just a roof over their heads, but a path to healing, independence, and stability. It's not just a safe house, it's a second chance, a place where fear is replaced with safety and the promise of a brighter future. It's the first Tri-Region Women's Safe House, sharing hope and changing lives. This program was created in response to the heartbreaking issues faced by women and children in our community. We are a local, trauma-informed, immediate lifeline because 4 people in a day need more than just our awareness. They need a safe place to land. So the next mom who shows up in our office won't have to sleep in her car. We'll be here when she needs it most. So our program is a residential facility located in an undisclosed location in the Tri-Region area. It's for emergency short-term stays for women with children, offering supports including basic needs, medical care, referrals, and emotional support. We're committed to providing compassionate services to help these families achieve the first steps to stability and independence. Our mission is to offer a safe and nurturing environment where women and children facing domestic violence or other crises can begin their journey towards stability and independence. Creating a safe and welcoming home takes more than just good intentions. It takes resources. As you can imagine, setting up a transitional house requires a wide range of items, from bedding and furniture to kitchen essentials and safety equipment. Thanks to the generosity of many local groups, the City of Spruce Grove, we've received many essential donations and some financial support. However, our startup costs were more than initially anticipated for health and safety compliance. We were required to purchase new mattresses, beds, and specific bedding, which significantly added to our expenses.
So $30,000 over our initial expectations and our annual budget of $50,000. No provincial or federal available, our proximity to Jesse's house in Edmonton. It had been always in the back of our minds that there must be a way to create a local safe space. So when everything fell into place, Jan was offered this location. Jan quickly gathered the board, and we talked about a name for our new program. We wanted a name that carried real meaning, something that was reflected not just a place, but a journey. During our search, Clint, my husband, shared his mother's Beverly story of healing and resistance. Her path inspired us, and from that formed Hope Beverly House. A name that now stands as a symbol of recovery, dignity, and strength for every woman who walks through our doors.
At Hope Beverly House, we provide more than just shelter. We offer a safe, warm, and welcoming home where women and children in crisis can begin to heal. Each resident receives personalized wraparound support designed to meet their unique needs. This includes referrals to counseling, and we have actually been able to refer many of them to Turning Points in Stony Plain, a great organization here. We refer them to parenting programs, income support, help them with legal navigation, such as help with emergency protection orders and court support, safety planning, and system advocacy. Our program is trauma-informed and women-led, grounded in best practices. After comprehensive training, our volunteers are equipped to provide compassionate, effective support every step of the way. Since opening our doors, we've already served 8 families, 4 of them which have stayed in the house. Sometimes some of the families we work with don't stay with us, but we're able to give them information. 2 of the families already transitioned successfully into a stable house of their own, a milestone that speaks volumes about the right support at the right time, what it can achieve. Beyond the shelter, we've supported women through some of the most difficult moments of their lives. Many of them have received help with restraining orders, navigating legal matters, even statements to the police. Each story has taught us more about the complex systems that survivors must face, systems that can often feel overwhelming and cold. But what we've learned most is how vital it is to have a place that says you're not alone. We'll figure it out together. Hope Beverly House is already making a difference in this community, and this is only the beginning.
Thank you so much for your time today and for giving us the opportunity to share this new project with you. The journey has been deeply personal, and we've learned so much in the last few months, not just about the system in place, but about the strength and courage of these people we serve. It means a great deal to be able to stand here and speak about the work that's already making a difference in the lives of local families. This program not only supports the mothers, but it's securing the future of the children.
Thank you for our presentation. Oh, is that it? Yep. Thank you so much. That's the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Mayor Choi, you wanted to ask a question?
Sure. Thank you for the presentation, and just wonderful to hear that this is in our communities. I remember first attending the initial conversation back in October 2024, I believe, I think I was there. And when you presented that, I was like, yes, that's something that we need to address and to help individuals in our community. And I'm glad that it is here now, and thank you for doing that. You mentioned that during the startup, there was an overrun about some dollars because you needed some new beds and mattresses and such. That was not kind of originally planned for. Have you contacted our administration in terms of grant funding for the programs?
No, we haven't yet, but we've been directed to do so.
Oh, excellent, and definitely we do have a program for that. So when this is complete, I'm sure our staff will reach out and then get the application process started. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Choi, anyone else on council have a question? Councillor Laurie, Councillor Anderson.
Both have a first name that's the same, so
Yeah,
that's an
I was
easy
not
one.
thinking Justin, I was just,
Thank you for being here this evening. Certainly, there's been many conversations around the region about what a program like this could look like. And certainly fitting, I think, on a day today, May 5th, being known as Red Dress Day, or the idea that we have to do something to end violence. Just in general, regardless of gender specifically or not, but certainly the prevalency of violence towards women and children is at an exponentially higher rate. And I think that's where we see the initiative that's here before us. About a year ago, there was an article on the news about how many families were being turned away from shelter services specific to individuals trying to flee a situation related to domestic violence. And the numbers absolutely blew me away. And ended up on a phone call with some of our provincial colleagues and asked the question, why something like this didn't exist in the area. And this would have been pre-Q4, I guess, 2024, which it sounds like was when you became operational. And part of the response was there just wasn't a provider at the time. And so I look at some of the information that's come out, and certainly 2024 again, the numbers are astounding when we look at the number of people who have been turned away who need a safe place to stay across the province. And was pleased to see that the Government of Alberta had some additional dollars in budget 2025, but you had alluded to not having any provincial government support at this time. And so I just wonder if you could expand on that a little bit. Was that just a timing thing from when you started and when dollars rolled out, or maybe some comments?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Councillor Anderson. No, it was not a timing thing. We had some sit-down talks with our provincial representatives, and there is no funding for this area because we are in close proximity to Morinville, which has a provincially funded shelter, and we're in close proximity to Edmonton. So there are no funds for the Tri-Region earmarked provincially or federally for a program like this here. But because we're so close, yet we're so far away that we can't access those services.
Okay, well, I appreciate the insight to the conversation from your perspective. I think there's something to be said for maintaining stability for families, and have had a number of families reach out during my time on council asking what is available in the region, and families not wanting to pick up their kiddos and have to move to a new school district and try to resettle in a new area. And as much as the instance of domestic violence may have happened within the region, certainly the supports that are available to that individual, whether that's familial or organizational, relational, spiritual, through a church or otherwise, also exist within the region. And so certainly appreciate the need and the desire and the intent to keep services local, and certainly an opportunity, I think, for ongoing conversations from this side of the table, as well as yours, with our provincial colleagues in terms of what that needs to look like. I appreciate the mayor's insight this evening in terms of what exists within the town of Stony Plain in terms of support that may be able to be offered. And certainly we will keep you in our thoughts and prayers as you continue the journey forward, and we'll be there to support in the capacity that we're able. So thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Anyone else on council? Questions of this presenter? No. I have one question as chair. I know through the church, which I'm involved with, there often have been, not as near as prevalent as women in stressful situations where they've had violence perpetrated against them, but there have been some occasions where men have been physically attacked with weapons, et cetera.
Yes.
Is there anything available for men? This facility would not be available for that, am I correct?
Yes, Deputy Mayor. This facility is for women with children. Now, my understanding is that the facility in Morinville does also accept men. I'm not sure how they work that. I believe they're a 31-bed facility, so they have a lot more room than we do. We only have 10 beds, so we can only host 3 families at one time, along with our house mother. So we're not big, we're small, but we're local, and so that's something that we're here local that we can be accessed immediately.
Thank you very much. So this is, or you have more to say? I know this is live streamed and people look at the YouTube of this meeting and others after the fact. And hopefully if there's a gentleman out there who needs help, they have the additional complication that it seems to be more embarrassing.
Yes.
Because it's hard for a man to say, I've got this out of control situation and I have to have my children in a safe place. So thank you very much for your presentation. Any final words?
I was just going to say, Deputy Mayor, actually Turning Points in Stony Plain is an organization that provides counseling and support to both men and women in both cases. So that's a really great local organization that if there was a man who was experiencing family violence, that he could also turn to that organization for support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
thank
letting us
you.
present.
I'm just,
Mr. Mayor?
thank you. Just final thoughts, sir, and I just came to my mind then when you said that you're small, but I think you're small but mighty. I think that's where it comes from within the tri-region, is that we have dedicated individuals that find a need and a passion, and they work really hard to achieve those goals, to provide those services to our community. I was just kind of going over the quote over there by Clint, and I think the sentence actually really hits home.
It does,
right?
yeah.
Especially for in our community, and the stats show that it's 7 to 8, maybe even 9 times before a woman can flee an abusive relationship, or anybody.
It's lots.
And it's because we don't have the facilities here. But having something here, maybe that brings that number down. And we also know that children tend to repeat what they're shown as they're growing up. So that is to secure our future as a community. So without taking them out of that situation, to show them that there's a different way, our children will not be there to support us when they get older, because they're just bound to repeat what they've been shown. So it just strikes really well in this community. As we know, over the last few years, there has been an increase in domestic violence in our communities, and having a program like this house, and also what has been happening over the last 10 years at the Pregnancy Center, goes a long way to support and care for the people in our communities. So we definitely thank you.
Thank you.
And then on behalf of council, we will be donating a silent item package for the silent auction on June 8th for your fundraiser.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So finally, when somebody steps up and meets a need, that's a wonderful story. You have not told anyone we see it in our package, but how does the public get in touch with you if they want to become involved, to help out, or to donate?
Thank you for asking, Deputy Mayor. They can contact us through Parkland Pregnancy Support Center, or they can contact, mainly through that. We don't really have a website just because the nature of our business is kind of secretive. So we don't really have a website yet. And the Hope Beverly House is actually a program under Parkland Pregnancy Support Center. So people can contact us through Karen or I through Parkland Pregnancy Support Center.
Right.
And
And
then
most
I'm gonna-
women's shelters are, they will take people who are in immediate crisis to a place that they cannot be found for their own safety. So that's why you don't have an address for this, correct? Go through another agency, and that's a lot safer.
Yes.
And also the RCMP, they know how to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
They know you.
And, yeah, victim services, they
That can
know
be
how
a
to get
good
a hold
thing
of
or
us.
not.
So they all know how to get a hold of us.
Excellent.
Because we've already had,
Thank you so much.
Yes, Deputy Mayor, we've been working closely with the RCMP detachment and the Central Regional Victim Services located at the detachment as well. So they're aware of our services and how to connect with us. And so that's been a really great partnership as well.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
thank you.
Turn your mics off, please. So we'll give them about 30 seconds to clear the table, and we'll move forward with our agenda. The next item on our agenda is the adoption of our committee meeting minutes. For governance and priorities meeting. Councillor Laurie, would you please come forward with the motion?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I'll move that the March 3rd, 2025 Governance and Priorities Committee meeting minutes be approved as presented.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments, questions, additions? Seeing none, all in favor? That motion carries. We move on then with business items. The first item under business is the Canadian Award for Financial Appointing. That you'll find that at 6.1 in our agenda. Administration, would you like to speak to this? And who am I directing this to?
Good evening. Thank you, Deputy Mayor and all of Council. The town has received notice of successful achievement of the Canadian Award for Financial Reporting for the submitted 2023 annual report. This marks the 13th subsequent year the town's annual report has qualified for this award. The Government Finance Officers Association presents awards to qualified applicants who publish an easily readable and efficiently organized annual financial report demonstrating transparency to residents. We want to take this time to thank all of communications and finance staff that had a part in another successful application. We're currently already working on the 2024 submission that is due at the end of June.
Thank you. We have a motion before us. I believe, is there anything else? All right, we have a motion before us for the, well, first of all, I should say anyone have anything to say or ask about this presentation? No, okay. Councillor Meyer, would you bring the motion forward, please?
Happy to, Deputy Mayor. That the Canadian... Sorry? Oh. Yes. That the Canadian Award for Financial Reporting for the Town of Stony Plain 2023 annual report be accepted for information.
Thank you very much. It takes them a year to get that all those stats ground and make sure they qualify, right? Okay. Any debate or discussion on this motion? Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just want to acknowledge that, a 13th, I believe consecutive, is that correct? Award like this speaks to having good people and good processes. and certainly want to extend our gratitude to all those that are involved. I know that our manager of financial services has a huge role. I know that our senior leadership team has a huge role here, but there are others who aren't available in the chambers this evening to thank. And so would just ask that as the one present this evening, that you take that forward to them and certainly recognize that as a success. 13 years is significant. Certainly we all have a down year, but 13 consecutive years says that a lot of good people are doing a lot of good things, and we certainly appreciate all they do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? No, all right. I just think it's wonderful that we have, Stony Plain is seen as an award-winning town, and when we get recognition for this, the nitty-gritty of what keeps everything functional, not the physical work like public works and that type of thing, but the sitting at the desk and grinding away with the numbers, it is really a good thing. And it's good to be part of council that leaves us in a position to be extremely proud of you. I'd like to invite everybody here who's part of the finance department to come forward, give councilors a chance to congratulate you, and we're going to have a picture taken. Oh, I think we have to pass this motion. Let's do that. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? And that carries. Now come forward for your picture with us, please. We'll come right down front. Meeting back to order. At this time, we are now in our new business items, 6.2, and that item is titled the 2025 First Quarter Report. The floor is open for questions of clarity and understanding. Well, first of all, do we need to hear from administration on this? We do. I loved reading the report. They're always so lovely, full of color pictures.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I love reading the report as well. Madam Deputy Mayor and the rest of council, just a few brief comments to open up the first quarter report. A couple of things to point out. Council, I believe you are aware that I spend some time around this portion of the year meeting with many community groups and stakeholder groups, talking about the council strategic plan. Amongst that presentation and conversation, I do point out the timing of the quarterly reports and quarterly updates, both the one before you in 6.2 as well as the one in 6.3 on strategic and corporate plan. I do make a few comments to those groups that, should they be interested, inclined, these two reports are some of the best way to get a snapshot of what the town has been doing over the last quarter. Probably in my words that I use with the community groups, the most information you're going to find in one spot overall about what the town has been doing. And Madam Deputy Mayor, we certainly have the pleasure to present these to council, while knowing that also members of the public have an interest and a stake in what goes on with their local government. A couple other things to point out. I will note, if you look, I believe it's page 22 of the package, you'll see a big green and a big red chair and some pretty happy people there. Madam Deputy Mayor, it's with pleasure that I point out that the idea for those came forward from some of our operations staff, and those chairs themselves were constructed by members of our own operations crews. And Madam Deputy Mayor, I will also make mention that shortly after they were installed, I had the good fortune, I was out there and noticed a group of children walking by and having a great time on those big chairs with one little girl's eyes were almost as big as those chairs. She was so excited about them. Madam Deputy Mayor, I do make point those out. As council is well aware, council administration spends a lot of time looking far into the future or thinking about, some large projects and, strategic projects. But the chairs exemplify a very quick idea with a very quick work and a very quick impact for a number of people in the community. So we're quite proud of those as well. Madam Deputy Mayor, I wanted to point out one more thing, not in a great amount of detail, but I believe somewhere on page 38, talking about our staff removing snow and ice from trails, there's a small line in there, a small comment about our staff using our GIS systems to track their progress and where they are and report back in. And not going to go into a great long explanation there. Just note it that our teams are doing their level best, utilizing technology in different ways to work on behalf of the public at large. Madam Deputy Mayor, I'll conclude my comments there, and certainly myself and the team can answer any questions or speak further on anything contained in the quarterly update report.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions that council may have of administration on this item? You do? Councillor Plechko? No? All right. So, council, I believe that puts us where we can move forward with the motion. Mayor Choi, did we already have the motion? Would you like to make the motion?
Sure. Will that allow me to ask some questions for clarity after?
Okay, I thought okay, you're welcome to do whatever. I've called your name.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a couple questions for clarity. So I'm just looking at page 31 of the report, and looking under violations and warnings. I understand there's some nuances between violations and warnings of speeding, because I think the officer has the ability to discern if it was, an emergency or some other reasons why an individual was speeding. But I don't understand the violations and warnings for unregistered vehicle, either it's registered or not registered. How can administration provide the difference between an actual violation for unregistered vehicle and a non-violation for unregistered vehicle?
Your worship, Mrs. Deputy Mayor, through to the mayor. Certainly, with the unregistered vehicles, sometimes the officers will use some discretion based on perhaps the individual doesn't have it with them at that time, and they'll come back and produce the document at a later date. But certainly, it's based on the circumstance of when they pull the individual over and what the circumstances are related to. So sometimes it's more cut and dry than others. And I would assume that the 43 are related to circumstances where a quick production of the document at a reasonable amount of time to the officer was more likely than just simply not having it and not having paid for it and not having a document, not being able to produce a document in a reasonable amount of time.
Is that everything?
Okay, thank you. Just another question for clarity. On page 37, and this is under the residential waste recycling trends. And on the last sentence, it says that despite the growing population, fewer residents are using the recycling facility. So that's talking about the Rotary Recycling Center. But looking at the numbers, there are a few areas where that has increased over the last year. And so I'm just wondering why that comment was made by staff. And then was there another explanation in terms of the paint and hazardous materials? Because I know we've started collecting those in a different way in terms of a roundup versus leaving out the recycling center.
Who would like to answer that question? Mr. Newstead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Through to your worship, could you, I missed the first part of your question. If you could please repeat. I was looking for the page in question as you were giving the question.
So on page 37, the last sentence says that the trends suggest despite a growing population, fewer residents are using the recycling facility. So I'm guessing that recycling facility is the Rotary Recycling Center. But looking at the stats, a lot of the numbers have been fairly stable, and others have actually increased quite a bit. And I noticed that the paint and hazardous materials, definitely reduction of the way that how we collect those paints and hazardous materials, so going down, which makes sense to me. But the increase in aerosol cans and blue bag tonnage, that's like a large increase. So I don't understand that statement where it says the trends suggest that even though we're growing in population, fewer residents are using the recycling center.
Thank you for the clarification, Your Worship, and to all of council. So there's a couple ways that these stats get collected. There's there's obviously the operator who reports the ultimate participation of residents, and then there's also the tonnage that is collected. So I can't offer specifics on every single item, though we do have, there will be times where people will bring in more in bulk on certain items. There will be residents that will make purposeful trips. Any specific items, they may have their own individual trends. Otherwise, with respect to the specifically the aerosol cans, staff are quite vigilant on monitoring that one for to ensure that they are stored away properly as soon as they're dropped off. So that's a couple of thoughts I'll give on that. Any specific stuff I could follow up with council for more details on an email.
Anything further, Mayor Choi?
Does any other members of council have questions?
Anyone else? Councilor Meyer, please.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor, and through you to administration. Just turning to page 31 of our agenda, page 10 of the report. In it, on the left-hand side, the bottom bullet, it outlines a few activities that our peace officers have been involved in. I'm particularly interested in the one item there. It says a warrant training workshop with the RCMP. Warrants sound like some pretty serious police work. I'm just curious how our peace officers play into that.
Madam Deputy, through to Councillor Meyer. Certainly warrants are criminal in nature. When the RCMP execute a warrant, there's a lot involved with it. From time to time, if a road has to be blocked or a perimeter has to be set related to it, they will reach out and ask if our CPOs can do some of that work on their behalf, which allows RCMP members to continue to be in service and take the priority calls, rather than having an RCMP member come over and simply block a road for 3 to 5 minutes, or whatever the duration is in terms of. But our members are not within the zone that the RCMP would be operating. They're well within the capacity of their appointments, and they're doing service that they would typically do on a daily basis. So it's not often that we assist with that, but from time to time the RCMP does reach out. I'm also aware that the City of Spruce Grove does the same type of activity with the RCMP from time to time too. So it's a matter of joining our forces and using our forces in the best manner to ensure that the overall enforcement portfolio continues to move forward with the priority calls.
Thank you for that response. It sounds like more, maybe I misread it, but it sounds like we assist more than, say, are actually involved in the warrants and the like. That's good, thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Laurie.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Just referring to page 38, I was just reviewing the chart on the outdoor rinks and skating surfaces, and I don't see the Glen Hall outdoor rink listed in the chart, which goes through kind of the user counts by location. I was just wondering if we can get an explanation why that is. I believe that would probably likely be one of our busiest outdoor rinks, and so just a little bit of context.
Deputy Mayor, through to Councillor Laurie, we can double check the absence of that rink in the stats. It may have just been an error, an oversight, but we can certainly follow up on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on council? Yes, Mayor Choi.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm just looking at page 34 of our package. Just looking for some commentary in terms of the increased ridership on the accessible transportation services. I know last year the Lions Club donated another accessible transportation bus to the town of Stony Plain, and we also made some changes in terms of the way that we're booking. Can Commissioners provide some commentary on the increases? And then definitely there were huge increases from last year to this year so far. And how do we, like, as a community, will approach those numbers coming forward? Because I think we capped out, and then these numbers look like they're about 25 to 30% increase from last year. Are we getting close to tapping out the new bus that was donated to us by the Lions Club of Stony Plain?
Ms. Deputy Mayor, through to Mayor Choi. Certainly the unit that was donated by the Lions Club, it was a replacement of an existing unit, and they do that from time to time with us. We did keep the unit one of the units back in service in order to allow us to continue to run and operate. With respect to the service overall, I think we're nearing probably getting to our capacity again, and we're working through the corporate plan process with respect to adjusting our service levels to continue to meet that growing demand. The service level that you mentioned with respect to the change, people used to have to register, and the registered people would get the ability to schedule. At this point, if you register with the service and you need the service, it's you basically call for the service. If the service is available, then we book the service for you. So rather than having to be a member of the service, so to speak, and then you can book your rides well in advance. This is if you're registered with the service, we know exactly what you need from time to time in terms of what bus to deploy or what resource to deploy, which is essentially what the application process is for. Also covers off some other things related to us being able to provide the service. You call, we are able to provide, we certainly offer. So it's not your typical have to be on a client list anymore. It's just basically we need to know your information so that we can provide the opportunity for you. And we've had more success with respect to getting more people to their appointments. We have adjusted the types of ridership that we're offering. So a lot of that social or recreation type opportunity, the medical and the essential have taken the lion's share of the rides that are available. And that's a prioritization of the demand for the service. So we have prioritized medical and essential being getting groceries, getting your prescriptions and those types of things. Where possible, if we're able, we'll do the more social and recreation opportunities and fit them into the more essential with essential service and medical.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? All right. Mayor Choi, would you like to make this motion, please?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Make a motion that the 2025 first quarter report be accepted for information.
Any debate or discussion on this motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? That motion carries. The next item of business is the last one for our meeting this evening, the Strategic and Corporate Plan Quarter One Report for 2025. Is there a presentation? All right. That's coming from General Manager Brandado.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor and members of council. Provided for your review and consideration is a report on the strategic plan and corporate plan progress of key initiatives for the first quarter of 2025. With the approval of the corporate plan in Q4 2024 and the strategic plan update and approval in February, administration is both advancing the priorities, projects, and services, as well as monitoring their outcomes and impacts. The details of the progress report are included in the agenda package. Notable updates in the report included are the hosting of the State of the Region, the wind down and wrap up of the Edmonton Metropolitan Region Board operations and mandate, the update and approval of the strategic plan for 2025 to 2028, the establishment and recruitment of the policing committee, the hosting of the Nourishing Connections and the Youth Speaks events, the launch of Saturday service to enhance on-demand public transit, the approval of the cemetery bylaw, and the approval of the amended North Industrial Park Area Structure Plan. Those are my comments with regards to the report, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions of council at this time. Thank you.
Are there any questions from council regarding this report? Seeing none. Last call. Seeing none, I'll call the question. Oh, sorry.
We need a motion.
We do need a motion. Councillor Anderson, would you bring forward that motion?
Absolutely. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll move that the Strategic and Corporate Plan Q1 2025 report be accepted for information.
Thank you. We now have a motion on the floor. Is there any debate or any other discussion about that motion? Anyone? We had an opportunity. Yes, Mayor Choi.
Thank you. And since nobody's taking the opportunity, I will take the opportunity to thank our staff for providing the update for the quarterly plan for strategic and corporate plan for the first quarter. As we can see through the report, a lot of things do happen each and every quarter that even myself on council, we tend to forget about because there's so many moving parts. So we definitely appreciate a report like this that we can kind of direct our residents to in terms of saying, what is the town doing? Well, here it is right there. It's nice to see. It's in a nice little package. And it also ties to our strategic plan, which are our 5 pillars and how we plan to achieve our goals as we continue to mature as a community. So thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Seeing no other discussion on this item, I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries. We now are at the portion of our meeting that brings us to council discussion, and I'll start. Did you shake your head, Madam Manager? Okay. She shook her head. I thought, oh, what that now? Councilor Palechko, would you like to start us this evening?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
All right, Councilor Loynes.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to mention that May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, where we focus on bringing tools, resources, and education to the general public. It is okay to not be okay, and you are not alone in this world, and you do matter. As well as Mother's Day is on Sunday, so happy Mother's Day to all of those moms. You're welcome, Councilor Meyer. Don't forget. And that is all for me.
Thank you. Councilor Meyer.
Well, first, I would like to thank Councilor Loynes for reminding me that it is Mother's Day, and happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there. Just maybe highlight the opportunity to join our Indigenous neighbors in the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Walk this, I believe it was Sunday? Sunday, thank you. Yes, where we draw awareness to some challenges that have plagued women in the Indigenous community for anyhow. Also this weekend, I got to wave the flag at the Alberta Association of Police Governance. Thank you, that was a wonderful event to attend in Westlock. Learned a lot about police governance and also some of the changes that are coming down that are hitting us with our policing committee. So looking forward to furthering that committee along. Other than that, I have nothing else unless there's something else that Councillor Loynes, any other special day that I should mention? No? Okay, good.
It's your birthday. Happy belated
Oh yeah,
birthday.
it was my birthday. Thank you. It was my birthday on Thursday.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's go to Councilor Laurie, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a couple of things to note. First, some great upcoming events. We have the grand opening for Swim Wahoo is this Saturday at, I think it's 11:30. I think it goes a little bit longer throughout the day too, but a great new facility here in town. And keeping with the recreation theme, our neighbors just to the east have their grand opening of the new recreation facility, Heavy Metal Place, on Saturday the 10th as well for the public grand opening. So I'm sure lots of residents will be interested in both of those events. Couple of things. I will forward an email to administration. We did have our treasure hunt this past weekend. Unfortunately, did receive several complaints in regards to the treasure hunt, and I think maybe time that we take a look at how that is operated and some ways that we can maybe manage some of those concerns. Did forward an email to administration as well today in regards to some concrete rubble on a property on 50th and 50th. I think that had been brought forward through our report it, so hopefully the teams are already aware of that as well. I did have two questions, probably for the General Manager of Planning and Infrastructure. One is in regards to the delivery of the new garbage bins. It was noted today that there are a few areas that still have not received their new bins, and I think the latest update we had was that that was supposed to be completed this past weekend, so just wanting to understand where we're at with that. And then at the same time, since it'll be the same General Manager, as per the quarterly report, our EPR program was supposed to start on April 1st. And I haven't seen much in the way of communications in regards to changes within our municipality, but I've seen quite a bit from other municipalities about changes in things that they're able to collect and so on and so forth. So just wondering if we can get a bit of an update on that.
Through DWR to Councillor Laurie and all of council, thank you for the questions. So for the first one with the with respect to the garbage bins, the town did initiate a change of garbage bins just a couple weeks ago. The contractor did work through the town over the last week. It was intended to wrap up by end of the weekend on Sunday, and by and large, most residents have received their new bins. There are, as you pointed out, there are a couple places where they are still cleaning up, including picking up of some of the old bins that, for whatever reason, were not picked up, as well as delivering the new ones. We are encouraging anyone who may have been unduly missed to contact us, and we'll get the replacement right out. Or if there's one that just hasn't been picked up, we do want to. We are what we have observed is a majority of the town was picked up. We're still collecting stats on exactly how. What percentage of ones may have been missed over time. But generally the rollout did hit most marks with a few stragglers. So we are, if anyone is missing it, please contact Public Works and we'll address that. To the second question with the extended producer responsibility, correct, we are, that is something that the town did sign off on. There's a couple of implementation changes that I know the staff are working through right now. I would happily give you an update end of this week here with how that's rolling out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councillor Anderson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. It certainly was a busy week, and a number of the items that I had down to touch on, excuse me, have already been mentioned, but I think a couple of them may bear some repetition, and that was first and foremost, the walk to end violence that took place this weekend, yesterday. That is in collaboration with Skydancer, as well as the tri-municipalities, and certainly a strong turnout to recognize the importance of bringing an end to gender-based violence and violence towards women and children. Very fitting that we had Parkland Pregnancy Society in here this evening to talk about some of the work that they're doing to bring an end to that violence as well. And so an important information item, I guess, for us to be aware of and appreciate those that were able to join us on that walk. Second, we had the privilege of recognizing community volunteers across the Tri-region this past week as well. And certainly it's our volunteers that are the lifeblood of our community and invest so much time, energy, and effort in the respective programs that they volunteer in, whether that's doing taxes for their neighbors and peers, or volunteering at the food bank and so on. We could name countless opportunities that exist for volunteers, but they enrich our lives on a daily basis, and they provide services to our community that we couldn't even begin to offer on our own due to the cost of staffing and programs. And so certainly a lot of gratitude to those that give of their time to invest in making our community a better place. And then we had the opportunity as well over the weekend to welcome the Alberta Northwest Territories Regional Command for the Legion Convention over the weekend as well, and saw 200 or 300 delegates, I believe, come from without the province and the Northwest Territories here for their biennial convention. And I know many members of council had the privilege of being in attendance there. And certainly appreciation for those that have served in our Canadian Forces, but also those that are auxiliary members and continue to work diligently to ensure supports and services are available and continue to be available for active and retired service members. And so a lot of gratitude this evening. So much goes into making our community such an amazing place to live, work, and play. And certainly those are just a few that we can speak of this evening.
Thank you very much. Mayor Choi, did you want to speak at this time?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and actually, kind of nice going last. Everybody's already mentioned those thanks and highlighted a few areas of concerns, and also then praises for the events that have already happened in our community. One thing that was just to highlight is our own Diane Mealy from the Tri-Region area. She was awarded the YWCA Women of Distinction Award for Arts and Culture. And then we talked about the red dress and the walk for murdered Indigenous women. She is one of the spearhead leaders of the Skydancer Indigenous Center. So her vision helped us create that society and that meeting place where people can come together to learn and to heal. And so she was recognized for the work that she's done in the region, and definitely the volunteer work that she has put in hours to make sure that this became a reality in our community. So then, and then definitely last week was Volunteer Week, so on behalf of myself and all members of our community, thank you to all the volunteers that have been out throughout the pitch-in week as well. I can see a lot of people out there with the yellow bags and just making our community a little bit nicer. So that's very appreciative, and I'll definitely echo the comments from members of council is that we thank our volunteers. Without your dedication and support to our community is only half of what we could achieve. So definitely thank you to everyone that does take the time to volunteer. Thank you.
Thank you. And as chair, I'll get to speak last on this. And there's an advantage to this because you don't have to remember everything. Everybody else usually talks about it all. I just wanted to thank the Youth Center for hosting all the people who turned out for pitch-in. We picked up a lot of garbage downtown. And I'm always amazed at how much of it comes in. We team up and go out, and I'm sure some of you saw us out in our bright yellow vests. Thank you for not running over us while we were out there. And thanks to the youth group for feeding us a good lunch that day. Our neighbors to the east is having the grand opening of the heavy metal place this Friday at 7 p.m. If anybody would like to turn out for that. No, I'm sorry, that's next Friday. Well, I've got it down on the 9th on the calendar. Grand opening on Saturday is for Wahoo Swim Club coming up. Just be aware of that. That's May 10th. I have heavy metal place on the town calendar on the 9th at 7 p.m. And we look forward to good weather, and thank you for sunshine. And with that, we have no closed meeting this evening, so this meeting is adjourned.